Good evening and welcome to the third and final meeting this evening. My name is Dennis Buckley, Mayor of the City of Beech Grove. At this time we will convene our common council meeting. This time in lieu of a roll call, I will ask each council person to identify themselves, starting to my far right.
Dave Mobley, City Council at Large.
John Jennings, District 4.
Dave Harrison, District 5.
Dan McMillan, Clerk Treasurer.
Craig Wiley, City Attorney.
Anthony Davidson, District 3.
Ed Bell, District 2.
Mary Huser Stewart, District 1.
Kathy Coates, Council at Large.
Thank you. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You've all received a copy of the minutes from the previous meeting. This time I'll ask if there are any changes that need to be made or corrections. If not, I'll ask for the minutes to be approved as presented.
I'll make said motion.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. Next up on the agenda is public comment. I know no one has signed up this evening, but I think we will call a couple of folks up when we hear General Ordinance number 18 on second reading. Under old business, General Ordinance number 14, 2012 is up for third reading. Bring it to the council's attention that the ordinance has been amended on page 1, the last sentence, up to 40 feet. So at this time, I will ask for a request to waive the rules to hear General Ordinance number 14 on third reading by title only.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign.
Did you say nay, Joe?
General Ordinance number 14, 2012 is an ordinance that amends Chapter 72, Section 72.47, subsections A, 2, 8, and subsection B in Chapter 72, Section 72.49 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana. Whereas accommodations must be made for persons with a handicap to park within a short distance from their residence. Whereas the City of Beech Grove must continue to inspect sidewalks, curbs, and infrastructure to ensure proper access for persons with a handicap. And whereas a person with a documented disability has come forward requesting a change in the current ordinance to accommodate parking. Now therefore be it ordained by the Common Council of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana, that Chapter 72, Section 72.47, subsection A, 2 and 8, and subsection B in Chapter 72, Section 72.49 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Beech Grove be amended. Now therefore be it ordained by the Common Council of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana, finds cause to amend Chapter 72 of the Code of Ordinances for the City of Beech Grove, Indiana, to read as follows. Chapter 72, Section 72.47, subsection A2 to read as follows. Permits are restricted to a household. Chapter 72, subsection A8 to read as follows. The city shall paint curbing designating such parking spaces with suitable blue paint markings up to 40 feet in length per property lot. H2, Chapter 72, subsection B, delete the words parking meter on line 4. Chapter 72.49, enforcement. No vehicle other than those authorized by a valid handicap plate or card of the persons living in the registered residence of which a parking space is designated shall park in the provided parking space marked herein. The permit holder reserves the right to contact law enforcement for the purpose of enforcement should any vehicle not authorized be parked in a properly marked and designated handicap spot. Be it further ordained that the Common Council finds it just to amend Chapter 72, Section A, subsection A2 and 8, and subsection B and Chapter 72, Section B of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana. Be it further ordained that all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith are hereby repealed. Be it further ordained that this ordinance shall be in effect 60 days after being approved by the Common Council, attested by the Clerk Treasurer, and signed by the Mayor. This time I'll ask for a motion to approve General Ordinance Number 14, 2012 on third and final reading.
Would this be a good time for conversation?
Yes.
I would like to say that I'm going to vote against this again. You're going to get 40 feet for parking if your property allows that. If we have so many houses that have 40 feet on these busy streets right through here, I'm worried that everybody else is going to have a problem parking. Parking is at a premium through there. 40 feet is more than enough for one car. It's almost too much, and that's my issue. So if it's multiple cars with permits, that's fine. But what it says is the household. Permits are restricted to a household. So if I get a permit for my house and for my son's car, who's 16 years old, if I get him a permit, which I'll be allowed to if I have one legally, then he'll have reserved parking in front of the house. I'm not sure that's exactly what we want to do through this neighborhood right here. So I will be voting no for it, and that's why. Thank you.
Ed, comment? Comment from council members?
I just want to speak just to that ordinance, because I worked on that ordinance 8 years ago. And with respect to handicap parking, it's for those, and it is the older part of Beech Grove, that don't have access to a driveway that goes directly into the home, and that you have to have a handicap placard and approved Indiana State handicap plate or placard. And then my impression was that then the sign that was in front of the house was tied to that particular placard or plate. And so I wanted to make sure that this doesn't counteract that.
No, it doesn't on that.
Okay, that's the only comment I wanted to make.
Councilor Bell, any comments on this?
No, I mean, I answered Kathy's question on that. I understand the concern what John has, but the only people that has complained is the ones that's been in my district, that parking is a premium, but they're finding out that homes that used to be single family are made into apartments with 2 or 3 families in it, and that's what's causing a lot of the parking problems. But the handicapped people should still be able to get in their residence safely.
Any other comments by council members? This time I'll ask, I'm sorry.
Sorry. I would have to agree with John on that. I think 40 feet is absolutely too much. I also think that after reading the ordinance that was in place, I don't see a problem with it, and so I don't like to fix things that aren't broken, so I will be voting no.
Yeah, just one last thing. I'm perfectly clear, and I worked with Chief of Police at the time, and that is a reserved space for that handicapped person's vehicle, not for visitors, not for vendors, not for home health employees. That is for their vehicle and their vehicle only, and that's the only thing that should be placed there. And that's the way my understanding is that that will be enforced, or should be enforced. And if that's changed, Mark, is he? That's still the same, right? Yeah, okay. That's it.
There's no other comments by council members. I'll ask for a motion to approve General Ordinance Number 14, 2012 on third and final reading.
I'll make said motion.
A second. I'll poll the council individually. David?
No.
John?
No.
Yes.
Anthony?
Yes.
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 And that's passes 4-3?
Correct.
Okay, passes 4-3. Move on to General Ordinance Number 18, 2012, on second reading only. At this time, I will ask for a motion to waive the rules to hear General Ordinance Number 18, 2012 on second reading by title only.
I'll make said motion there.
What we just passed.
Second,
I'll second.
all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. General Ordinance Number 18, 2012, an ordinance of the City of Beech Grove, Indiana, authorizing the issuance and sale of bonds of the city for the purpose of providing funds to be used for the cost of acquiring a fire truck and an ambulance, improving several municipal building roofs, and various infrastructure improvement and updates, and the incidental expenses in connection therewith. This time, I'll ask our Parks Director to come forward. Tom?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I just wanted you to be aware that tonight we have Bill Hall and John Clodfelter from United Consulting Engineers here to answer any questions about the erosion control. And we have John Day from Miracle of Michigan and Indiana, and he's here to, he's got literature for the proposed shelters and for the camera equipment. So he can answer questions about that, and they both have some handouts, I think. That's it.
Right. I had, and I wanted to address the council. Councilman Jennings had brought up a really good point, and I wanted to take a look at it because he did an amendment for $100,000 in the creek instead of $300,000. So I asked that to be looked into to see if we can in fact do that, and I would like to hear from an engineer.
They can speak to that.
If someone could come up and speak to that, because it was brought up and it was a valid point that we have a real problem at the bend of the road there. And I just wanted to take a look at that to see if that is in fact, if we could do something like that.
Okay. Good evening. I'm John Clodfelter with United Consulting. And we've gone out there and looked at the property on Lick Creek and looked at the erosion problem. And what we were looking at was doing a study from the new bridge down to the dam, where most of the erosion is down toward the end of that area. And our concern is that if you just correct one little piece, what's wrong right now, you can end up causing erosion and other problems, and then have to go back in another year or so. So, from our point of view, it looks like the best way to do it would be to go in there and fix everything from the bridge down to the dam, and then you won't have to deal with that again for a while. So just putting a Band-Aid on a little short piece of what the problem is right now can come back, and you end up having to fix it again another year or so.
We were out there Friday, and on the west side of the creek, where you come down off of Sherman Drive and it bends, there's a hole there at the edge of the road that's about 2 foot. And they tried to explain it to me to where it's pulling water back in or something.
Yeah,
What is that?
When the water gets high and then it comes back into the creek, it's pulling all that erosion and eroding all the bank out as the water comes back into the creek. So it's not necessarily from flow coming down the creek, it's when it comes out of the banks and then flows back in.
And could that wash the road out also?
It could eventually, yes.
That would be the west side coming down the hill.
Right.
The floor is open for comment or questions.
What was the estimate on going from the dam to the bridge?
For engineering and construction right now, my understanding is it was right around $300,000 was the estimate.
And just doing half of it, say where the hole is at the bottom of the hill on the west side of the river, and directly across from it on the east side, which would be along the bushes, it'd be it'd be inappropriate to only spend $100,000 doing that area, that the water would eventually erode around the erosion control that we're putting in.
Well, I don't have any specific numbers on doing a shorter project. We have another engineering firm, Christopher Burke, who's doing some analysis for us right now and putting some additional construction numbers together for doing the full project and also looking at doing a shorter one. So,
Thank you.
But I think that was, John, I wanted to hear what, I thought that was a valid point.
I agree. I agree. I'm just worried about the 300,000.
Thank you, John.
Yes, thank you.
Comments or questions by other council members? At this time, I'll ask for a motion to approve General Ordinance Number 18, 2012 on second reading.
I'll make said motion.
I'm sorry, are we not going to have discussion on it?
Yeah,
That was discussion on,
That was
Oh.
not
Or
one
discussions.
piece.
okay, I'll revert back and I'll open it up for further discussion.
Thank you.
yes, I have some discussion. I won't bore you with all my numbers again. I would like to amend General Ordinance Number 18, 2012 to $1,680,000. For anybody that was here 2 weeks ago at the meeting, I listed several things that I thought were not as important as the public safety and other parts of this bond that I thought were over the top, such as the two new park
Shelters?
shelters. Ours aren't very attractive, but they're solid. So I'd like to amend it to 1.68 million.
Okay, what would else be, John, what else would you take out of there?
I can read it right here out of the minutes. $200,000 out of the $300,000 for erosion. The Hilltop Park shelter, the South Grove shelter, the live feed, and the security cameras. If he'd like to get up and talk about the security cameras, I have no problem hearing what he has to say, but I'm pretty set on not putting up cameras right now.
I would like to hear what he has to say.
Certainly.
To see, because there's been questions about at night, and I would like to hear someone else's perspective.
So are the shelters eliminated at this point?
Oh, no.
I've got some material to pass out to you all, if I may.
Yes, please.
I'd like to clarify whether.
Again, my name is John Day, and I'm with Miracle Midwest. The pink tab, these catalogs represent the ones that you all are, let me see, no, it'll be the yellow, I'm sorry, the yellow tab. Tom was telling me that you'd already made other provisions on the restrooms.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I've also got some literature on the cameras. I have some questions.
Do they come with the cool little cars?
Could start a ride thing.
Thank you.
This IC Real-Time Camera Company, Surveillance Company, they're out of Dublin, Ireland, have offices in Florida, Arizona. It's an international company. I'm gonna run out here. This one here, I didn't know.
Well, make sure they have, here, they can have mine.
Have yours there, okay.
Same thing. Thanks. I got the same thing. Here, there's one.
I'll get one page of that.
Yeah.
So wherever you'd like to start as far as whether you have questions about the shelters, they are still posted, steel roof shelters. This is the predominant shelter that's being used in most parks because of vandalism. Also, the security issue is becoming ever more prevalent with enclosed shelters where kids can get behind those and be up to mischievous things. Makes it hard, makes it very difficult for law enforcement to see in there at night without getting out and going around inside the shelters. And with that said, the shelters, the steel shelters versus wood or concrete block, the shelters that you have there now, you have less bees and wasp and, you know, this kind of thing, making nest inside the shelter. So that's also a plus. Shelters like this are relatively very inexpensive for the years of use that you'll get out of them. And oh, wow, we've got shelters out there. Polygon is one of the foremost shelter companies out of New Holland, Michigan in the country. We've got shelters standing over 20 years. And, you know, they're powder coated, the paint is, and I mean, they look very attractive, very nice for rentals. You know, nobody would be embarrassed. You'll probably find your rental income going up on your shelters. How much, I can't tell you that, but more and more people are staying close to home, so the shelters are a big plus.
Could you explain about the night vision on the cameras, please?
Well, I tell you,
That's one of my main concerns. I think they're fantastic buildings. I think they're beautiful. I like what we have.
yeah, as far as, oh, the shelters, okay. Any other questions on the shelters? Okay.
Sure.
I just said, just on the shelters, the proposed amount of the shelter replacement here does not include replacing the flooring on the shelter.
No.
Those will remain as.
Yes. You know, we thought that would be the most efficient way of doing it. They look like they're in pretty good shape. The concrete does. It could be sandblasted. You could probably do some cleaning on it and cover
There's one big crack. Tom, you and I talked about that.
Right. The, as you'll see on this particular brochure here that I gave you, these cameras are night, day-night resolution and vision. I don't know if you're all familiar with home video cameras, consumer video cameras, but typically on a home video camera, you might get a 1 lux, 2 lux, which is a measurement of a camera's ability, a lens ability to basically, you know, for night vision, for low light conditions. This one here, these particular cameras here that we priced and quoted to you are 1/10,000th of a lux. And if you'd like, you can go on to YouTube. There's videos on there of these things performing at night. Some very remarkable video. Night vision, where you can pick up plates in parking areas and things. These are not meant to replace law enforcement. There's no 100% type solution out there, but it's a great supplement.
Can they pick up a face at night?
Absolutely. These are high-resolution cameras, and so when you go into your DVR, and they're 500 gigabyte DVRs, you're able to enlarge those considerably because of their high resolution, much, much higher than the consumer DVRs you have at home. But yeah, that would probably be one of the best tests, is to go like on YouTube, look up IC Real Time, look at some of the videos of actual burglars, people vandalizing and things. It's absolutely remarkable, the night vision on them.
But and outside in the park area, they would work well.
Absolutely. These, when we went and we did a survey of the area the other day, you know, we were looking at positions to place the camera to get the best area coverage and at the same time be out of, you know, arm reach, that kind of thing, vandalism, try to protect the cameras, get them up, elevate them. And so they were positioned in a way that there's crossover, and it doesn't mean you can't come back and adjust those at a later date. But initially, it's a pretty good setup with 7 cameras in 3 parks. And again, you know, what else could you do for roughly $16,000 that would give you 24-hour days, 7 days a week, 364 days a year, 365 days a year coverage.
Is this something that's becoming more prevalent?
Absolutely. I was telling Tom a little while ago that we installed a playground up in Marion, it was about 4 years ago, and the sexual predators started showing up. They put up a wrought iron fence that cost them $70,000, and now they're at the point of doing video.
Because I would have never thought about doing something like this.
I had Rusty Connor in Middletown, the park superintendent over just northwest of Newcastle. He was having some problems there with vandalism, and also the women's restroom facility was being kind of, a lot of guys hanging around them and that kind of thing. They caught a sexual predator with the cameras. They also caught some vandals that had vandalized some things. He has a much smaller area to cover, but he covered his for like $8,000, and you couldn't tear those cameras and those DVRs away from him.
Who would be would it be your company that would determine where these things go?
Yes, I had a gentleman with me the other day when we met with Tom, Jim Humphrey from Oak Security, and he came out and basically that's what we did. We surveyed the area, and he's got a lot more years experience than I do doing the video, and so that's why he was there. He's on vacation this week. He would have been here. But so, yeah, he just, through his experience and through the experience I had with Rusty Connor there in Middletown, you had some real nice locations for the camera equipment and also for the DVRs. And at a later time, if you decide you want to go online and where you could monitor these cameras live time, you can do that.
I have a question about the DVRs and where they will be housed and who will maintain those. Is that Parks Department responsibility?
Right.
Is that police?
Parks Department.
We'd rather not say where they'll be housed.
Well, okay. At your house.
So then if there was an incident in the park, they would have to call a parks employee to go view the cameras? Is that correct? Okay. Now these cameras here, how much illumination are we talking about to actually see a person at night?
It's incredible.
No, I'm sorry.
To subjectively answer that, that's kind of tough to do, but
I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. How much illumination inside the park, as far as park lights, would there have to be to see a person pretty
the
clear?
lights you have there are much more than adequate.
And do you know how much it costs as far as energy to run these things?
Ooh, I couldn't tell you on that. Very minimal, very nominal.
Very minimal?
Yeah.
What's the range of the cameras as far as distance? How far can they pick up?
Well, these here, I believe he was looking at about a 200-foot reach. And then the way they're positioned, it's like covering most of the critical area.
Are these on all the time or just on by motion?
They're on by motion, and but they'll stay on. You can set that. All that can be set up. It's got 500 gig drives, which will give you several days of coverage at each location without having to reset it. But that's the best way. I mean, it'll pick up about as much motion as you want it to pick up. If you want it to be a little more motion, to set it off. But once it comes on, it'll stay on for a predetermined time that you program it.
And it's not just flashes in time?
No, it's not taking pictures, it's video.
Is this cost with a pole, or are we mounting it on a?
On your existing.
And IPL's okay with that?
Who's okay with it?
IPL and all them?
We wouldn't have an issue there. Some of them would go on poles.
Buildings.
Previous administration left us some poles we can use, and then there's shelters that they'll go on.
I just know that was a problem with the I hate to mention it, Wi-Fi system. I know that was a problem with the Wi-Fi or the internet system in here, that we couldn't put them on.
Yeah, we have a position for all these to go on.
Right.
Currently.
I have a question on, if we lose power, is there a battery in these units?
The DVR has battery backup on it. I would have to check on the cameras themselves. I don't believe they do. I believe there's battery backup available.
All right. Further questions for Mr. Day? Comments by council members? John, I want to make sure that this is right. Both shelters,
Me, John.
erosion control, cameras in the park, the internet for here. Is that it?
The live feed.
The live feed.
John, didn't you say you didn't want the radiant heat
The
tubes?
radiant heat tubes and the,
What heater are we gonna go back in with?
what is there currently?
They have 2 natural gas unit heaters.
Yeah, this was an add-on, that there is heat in the building.
Okay.
And the other one was the paving of the lot, or the concreting of the lot at the Department of Public Works.
Okay. Further questions by, or comments by council members?
That would be paving up the lot, correct? Not concreting.
I think
Asphalt?
That was,
that the whole thing, paving and the asphalt.
What was it? What was the Department of Public Works? Was it concreting the lot or paving the lot? Both paving and concrete.
Okay, there is a motion to amend General Orders number 18.
One more.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Playground equipment. Am I clear, when we talk about playground equipment, I thought it was more than just swings, but the paperwork that I've seen since said it's all swings.
Playground equipment that we voted was all swings.
It is all swings?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So the other slides and the climbing, that's all gonna stay there?
Yeah, that's all relatively new. The swings we're replacing are all,
Are the
we
ones
estimate they're 1950s.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted, because I had thought it was one swings, but then I saw something else that it wasn't, so I didn't want to be clear.
Yeah, those play sets would be 25 to 30,000 a whack to replace those.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments or questions by council members? There has been a motion to amend to remove both shelters, erosion control in the creek down to 100,000, cameras in the parks, the internet, live feed, tube heating at DPW, the lot paving, and the roller compacted cement at DPW. Amendments on the floor. There's been a motion. I need a second.
Second that.
All those in favor, I'll pull the council individually. David? David?
Yes, on the amendment.
But on the amendment?
Yeah, on the
Okay,
amendment.
no.
No.
Yes.
no.
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 Okay, what's the vote in? Or
5 to 2.
5 to 2. The no vote is 5 to 2. We'll move on to General Ordinance number 18, 2012 on second reading. Need a motion to approve.
Mayor, if you don't mind, I'd like to make an amendment. Basically, everything that John had, except for the erosion control, leave it at 300, and minus the playground equipment.
Okay, Anthony, do that again.
Everything that John had, which I'll read it again: DPW repair shop, area radiant heat tubes, DPW heavy truck drive and parking lot, playground equipment, actually everything in the miscellaneous: cable authority live feed, hilltop shelter, South Grove shelter, security cameras.
Motion is on the floor to amend General Ordinance number 18.
And if I would, I'd like to also add too that I've noticed in the parks budget they have 10,000 for park improvements and 15,000 for repairs and maintenance in their budget that they can work with, and I'd like to see some of that money used.
Motion to amend General Ordinance number 18 2012. I need a second.
I'll second.
All those in favor, I will poll the council individually. David? John?
Yes.
David?
No.
Anthony?
Yes.
No.
No.
I did too.
5-2. Further comments or questions by council members? If not, I'll ask for a motion to approve General Ordinance Number 18, 2012 on second reading.
I will make said motion.
I'll second.
Second. I will poll the council individually, starting to my far right. David?
Yes.
John?
No.
Dave?
Yes.
Anthony?
No.
Ed?
Yes.
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 Okay, 5-2. We will move to third reading on July the 2nd at 7 PM after a public hearing. Move on to General Ordinance Number 19, 2012, it's up for second reading. I'll ask for a motion to waive the rules to read this by title only, please.
I'll make said motion.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. General Ordinance Number 19, 2012, an ordinance of the City of Beech Grove appropriating the proceeds of the general obligation bonds of 2012. This time, I'll ask for a motion to approve General Ordinance Number 19, 2012 on second reading only.
I'll make said motion.
Second?
I got it in two places, John and Ed.
Would you second it, Ed?
Sure.
Okay. I will poll the council individually. To my far right, David?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Yes.
Anthony?
No.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. We will move to third and final reading on July the 2nd after the public hearing. Move on to General Ordinance Number 20, 2012, and before I do that, I would like to redistribute General Ordinance Number 20.
Is it differing than?
It has been brought to my attention, the intent was to be in rhyme with the state statute verbatim and with the ordinance that we approved on first reading at the last meeting did not. And I would like to point out on page 2, at the bottom paragraph, number 1, individuals who are not relatives is a typo. Not should be removed. And then also right above that, under relative H, in order to be compliant with state statute verbatim, the sister-in-law or brother-in-law should be taken out of this ordinance. So at this time, I'll open it up for any comment or question by the council.
The only question I have is, will this be okay on first reading since we've amended it?
Well,
Or would this be first reading?
no, what I would like to do with this on second reading, before we do the second reading, I'd like to amend it. So I'd like to have a motion to amend General Ordinance Number 20.
I will make said motion, amending General Ordinance Number 20, 2012, taking out the word "not" in the last paragraph, and number 8, letter H, deleting it completely. A motion that we accept as amended.
I need a second.
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. Now we'll move to General Ordinance Number 20, 2012. I'll ask for a motion to waive the rules to read by title only on second reading.
I'll make said motion.
Second.
General Ordinance Number 20, 2012 is an ordinance that amends Article 14, Section 3 in the City of Beech Grove Personnel Manual on nepotism. This time I'll ask for a motion to approve General Ordinance Number 20, 2012 on second reading.
I'll make said motion on second reading.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same sign. General Ordinance Number 20, 2012 is up for third and final reading. I will ask at this time for a motion to waive the rules to read General Ordinance Number 20, 2012 by title only. Second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, the same sign. General Ordinance Number 20, 2012 is an ordinance that amends Article 14, Section 3 in the City of Beech Grove Personnel Manual on nepotism. This time I will ask for a motion to approve General Ordinance Number 20, 2012 on third and final reading.
I'll make said motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And I thank the council's cooperation on this general ordinance. This was brought to our attention, I think, a week ago Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. So I appreciate the patience on this one. There's no new business to bring forward from the previous meeting, or tonight's meeting. At this time, I will ask for comments from council members, beginning at my far right. Dave?
No comment tonight, sir.
John?
No, for those of you that are laughing at me in the audience, this is the way it works. I'm going to stand up for what I said I would do. I ran on cutting the taxes. If you have something to say, show up at the public meeting in 2 weeks,
July 2nd.
July 2nd. Let your voice be heard. That's all I have. Thank you.
David?
No, other than, I know this is going to be the bond issue seems to be a big discussion, but I got on the council to do what I thought was right for the city and the citizens, and I think this is a good move. I don't think it's a wish list. I think it's an improvement, and I think it needs to be improved everywhere. And wish we could get more, but we can't. It's my feeling.
Anthony?
I would just like to read a statement by one of our citizens who couldn't be here tonight that she would like read. And it states, would someone kindly remind the attention of Mary Stewart that I originally sent this email to her on June 7th and also called her the following day and left a message, and to date I have not heard from one person other than Anthony Davidson in response to this. I unfortunately cannot make the meeting this evening as I have a family in from out of town, but I would appreciate it if it was brought to the attention of the council that this email was sent to Mary Stewart, and I also copied every other council person, and as stated, not one reply from anyone other than Anthony Davidson. Very disappointing that they ask us to contact them and then they do not even answer or acknowledge. Thank you, Carla Richardson. If anybody would like a copy of that email, come see me afterwards. Thanks.
Could I say something on that? I got a copy of that, as it was sent to each council person. It didn't say to respond. It just said this is the way she felt. That was my take on that. I also got 4 responses in favor of it. I didn't answer them either, because they never asked for an answer, and neither did Carla. She just pointed out her view that she would not like to have that passed as read. Am I wrong?
I would actually like to correct you. At the bottom of that original email, it says, "Thank you for your time and consideration, and I also ask for a confirmation of receiving this email prior to the next council meeting on 6/18/2012." And she didn't get a response from anybody but me. So.
I'll make sure I respond to her. I did get one.
She also called left a voicemail too, and the voicemail that I got said that too. But she also
left me one.
But she also said that only 3 council members had their voicemail set up.
All right.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Ed?
No comment tonight.
Mary?
No comment, sir.
Anthony?
I I just want to stress, obviously, this July 2nd meeting and the hearing is going to be important because there's a lot of feelings on both sides, so bring one, bring all, because pros or cons, I want to know, I want to hear what's on your mind. Because it's your city. We're here to conduct that business, but it's your city, your children, your families that are, you know, your taxes. It's, you know, so just help us out here. Make a good decision for the city of Beech Grove.
All right, thank you. I have no other comment. I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make said motion.
Second. We'll be adjourned at 7:45. We will reconvene at 7 PM on July the 2nd. Thank you.